Hello. Welcome, bienvenidos. I want you to help me plan my next sabbatical. It's 2025 and it's January. It's cold. I don't know about where you are, but if you're in the United States, even the southern United States, you will see that temperatures have been uncharacteristically low. So this morning when we got up I'm near Atlanta, Georgia right now, it was 15 degrees. The low for today was 15. The high for today actually was 32. But when I woke up at 7 a.m., it was 15 degrees, and it didn't get up to 20 degrees until almost 11 a.m. We had snow yesterday, and I thought, actually a week ago, when it was snowy last week, I realized that I needed to start the details of planning my sabbatical. And so therefore, I want you to come along with me and help me plan. So my name is Dr. Crystal Harris, and I am super excited to also be celebrating today that yesterday I reached 100 subscribers. So if you're new here and you've subscribed within the last week and a half, I just want to say thank you so much. I'm so happy. This is sort of still a teeny tiny channel, but it shows that we're moving in the right direction. So welcome. I am retired since June, so 6 months retired from teaching in higher education in the suburbs of Chicago, Illinois. And I am a social psychologist by training. I have been doing career coaching actually for 10 years, mostly for free or very low cost as a part of my job, but with other people outside of the university, of course. And now I have a full-scale boutique coaching practice. I take about 5 clients a year. Generally, coaching can last anywhere from 6 to 12 months. And so I started this YouTube channel not only to chronicle my experiences during my sabbatical, because I retired to be on sabbatical and travel the world. And I'm basically doing it. And I'm a big believer in vision boards and inspiration boards. And as a result of that, I am happy to just be taking you along with me on the journey to be on sabbatical. I'm in a community online with a lot of wonderful solo female travelers, young people, middle-aged people, people who are dawning. I would say I'm not mid-career anymore because I've actually retired from 2 organizations, and I'm expecting a milestone to celebrate a milestone birthday. So thank you. I have someone has joined. Oh, Sabbatical Life. Thank you. My twin name. So thank you so much for popping in. So what are we going to do today? So today I have developed a step-by-step process for planning my sabbatical. I want to start out by sharing with you a resource that I care a lot about. It's this book. It's called Taking a Career Break for Dummies. And I am a big fan of Katrina McGee, who wrote this. I met her in a YouTube interview before the book was published. I was one of the people that got to review the book or be an early reviewer of the book when it did come out. And it is so helpful. In fact, I don't know if you'll be able to see this, but it has, can you see how I have really written up all these pages and all the highlights? I really got my money's worth out of this book. So it has a lot of checklists and resources that I use to plan my first sabbatical. So for those of you who are new to the channel, I actually returned from my first leg of a sabbatical. It was 4.5 months. It was through Western Europe. I went through 4 cities in the United Kingdom, then popped over to Spain, did 2 cities in Spain, popped over to France, came back and did 3 more cities in Spain. And I actually came back. I was supposed to be gone 5 months. I actually came back 3 weeks early. One of the lessons from that, which is covered in another video, sort of highlights from my first sabbatical. And what I learned is that for me, 3 months is about the amount of time that I want to be gone. I need to kind of pop back in and have some creature comforts and some familiarity after that time. So I really strongly encourage you who are thinking about taking a career break, trying to figure out how to fund a career break, to please, tune in to the end of the video so that I can tell you about my new resource. So one of the things that I have been working on since I came back, I made an attempt to make a travel planner before I went. I looked for a travel planner. This book is nice in that it has the text and the information, but I'm a writer or a processor. I love a notebook where I can make a checklist and cross things off. And so I was looking for a digital planner and I could not find one that worked for me. So I tried to create one. But having never been on a sabbatical or career break, I've done solo traveling, but it's a little different and a little longer and requires, in my opinion, a little bit more structure when it's a career break type of event versus just a vacation. So as a result of that, I ended up deciding when I came back in November that I was going to create my own digital planner and put more effort into making it useful for myself. So that's what I've created. And at the end of the video, if you stay to the end, I'll tell you a little bit about where you can find it and how you can get it. So I am super excited that Sabbatical Life is with me. And she was saying she subscribed, number 101. Thank you so much. I appreciate you so much. Okay, so I got to get rid of the comments so that I can now put on the things that I need to put on. So I want to give you a quick sneak peek at the career break planner. So that is the thumbnail that I created on my Stan store. So you get a little bit of a teaser of that. And so now I want to jump right into my notes, and you will see me looking at my phone because this is where my notes are here. So when you see me looking down. So the first thing I want to tell you, and I think you know this if you saw the thumbnail, I'm going to Central America. Initially, I wanted to go to 4 countries in Central America. So I'm really at phase 3 of planning this sabbatical. I think you need to start planning at least 6 months in advance. And this is a great video for anybody who's going to be leaving within 12 to 18 months, because I feel like I'm going to cover like an overview. Like you could do my live streams tend to be 30, 45 minutes, and you could do a 30, 45-minute video on each step in the process that I'm going to share with you. And if you're interested, if you're watching today or you are watching in the future on a replay, by all means, please let me know if you'd be interested in more videos like this. So the first thing I want to say is that I've narrowed it down from 4 countries to 2 countries. And I put 4 sheets, assuming you're going to 4 countries, because I think sometimes you don't know which are the countries you want to go to until you have gotten into the process. So you might start out planning to do 3 or 4 countries. I'm actually going to do more countries, but I like to focus on, as I said, 3 months at a time. So this video is going to be helping me plan my 2-month sabbatical. And it's 2 months because I'm actually going to one country for 2 weeks, coming back for an event in Atlanta, and then going back to another country for 2 months. So it's really more than 2 months, but because I'm doing them not in sequence like I did the first time, and that's just a function of the fact that I found out in my research that the airline tickets are not that expensive. So it makes sense to be able to get 2 round trip tickets instead of a 3-way. What I would have normally done, or what I would have expected to do, was to fly from Atlanta to Panama to Costa Rica to Atlanta. So that was my original plan. So I can get more bang for my buck by doing 2 round trip tickets, and it's more convenient. So I also want to tell you that I have a budget constraint of $6,000 for this 3 months. So it's really important to think about your budget. It's really important to think about the amount of time that you want to be away. And it's really important to think about the weather. So that's something that I also learned from my first sabbatical. I actually ended up spending more time in places where the weather was warm, and less time in places where the weather was a little, more likely to be cloudy or rainy. In Central America, unlike Europe, they have two seasons, the wet season and the dry season. You know, in the United States, we tend to talk about fall, winter, spring, summer. So on the calendar, they have, of course, the same months that we do. But because it's a community where when there's rain, there's like, 10 to 12 inches of rain per day. But the time that I've selected to go, March, the average rainfall, I've done the research, is under 2 inches per day. And don't quote me because I'm not looking at the exact statistics. In April, it's somewhere between 2 and 3.5 inches per day average. And in what's after that, May, it's anywhere from 3.5 to 6 inches average per day. And so it is leading into the high rainy season in Central America while I'm there. But I think that's going to be fine because it means that it might rain hard, but it won't rain, all of the daylight hours, which is fine for me because I love an afternoon nap in the rain. So, and I picked Central America also because I knew that I could stay within my $6,000 budget for 2+ months. So, and that is primarily lodging, food, and activities. That doesn't include the airfare. And I guess the other thing I want to say that's really important that I've already done, but I've reworked, is what are your goals? So if you look at the digital planner that I created, the first step is to really understand, and I got this from Katrina's book, the For Dummies book, is you have to have very clear goals on what you want to accomplish at the end of your career break. So I retired early. I'm in my 50s. I know that I will go and have other income producing activities to supplement my teaching pension. And what that looks like for me now is creating digital products, promoting my YouTube channel, doing public speaking and workshops when I feel like being in the United States and working hard. However, I also know that I love teaching. I'm good at teaching. I call it a low-level administrator. I was a program coordinator for a very large, very busy program in a very strategic and challenging season in the history of that program. It had to be totally redesigned while I was at the helm. So it was for a variety of complex reasons. I wouldn't do that again. But what I would say is that I know that I want to continue to use my gifts and strengths, but in a way that is going to be conducive to the level of energy that I want to put into other things as well. I don't want my whole life, 60, 70 hours a week, to be consumed with the teaching profession, the higher education profession. I want time to do other things that I love and that I'm good at. So I put together my goals for this time, and I think I wrote them here. I'm trying to see. And while I do that, I want to show you, because I know before I became a person who planned sabbaticals, I didn't know much about geography, honestly. I knew that Central America is the general list of countries between Mexico and South America. And I didn't even know until I went to Mexico, because we in the United States like to tell people in Mexico that we're American. By the way, that's a huge don't. Mexicans are also Americans. Mexico is in North America. The United States does not have control over all of America. So America includes North America, Central America, and South America. So Panamanians are also Americans. They're in Central America. So as a North American visiting in Mexico, it was when I began to understand how limited our education can be. And so Panama is a very narrow strip of country, one of the 4 or 5, don't quote me on that, countries between Mexico and South America, the continent of South America. And it's famous for the Panama Canal. If you notice, I don't know if I can make this. Yeah, there's no pointer here. But anyway, there is a point here where you can see where there's almost water going all the way through. So that is a very famous landmark in Panama. And the other place that I'm going, just north of Panama, you can see Panama in the lower right-hand corner, but the colored region is Costa Rica. Costa Rica is also really a diverse, beautiful natural landscape. Besides being affordable, besides being both having great food, great people, they're both Spanish-speaking countries, although the ways in which they, I would say their dialect or accent of how they pronounce words is very unique all through different countries in Central and South America. So the Spanish that I learned in Spain is going to be entirely different than the way I'm going to have to learn Spanish, the type of Spanish that I'll be trying to learn and practice in these two countries. So in addition to that, I wanted to say that that is one of the steps. So one of the sheets in my planner is I am going on a career break because so one I alluded to it already. One of my purposes of my career break is to understand the culture of that region of America, Central America, and by going to at least 3 countries, I think I could do that. So at this point, I'm leaving myself room to come back to Central America later in 2025. I don't know that I will have the budget to do that, but one of the reasons why I'm considering reframing my mind as this is a budget, I'm sorry, I want to take that off. This is a budget trip is because I believe I want to be able to share a slice of my budget to be able to pop back into Belize or El Salvador later in 2025. So cultural understanding, the climate, it's definitely the weather that I want to be in. March, the weather in the U.S., southern U.S., and especially in Chicago, where I'm from, where I was 25 years, it's very cold in March, April, and May still. Although in Georgia last year, May was really nice, and April was off again, on again, nice. So I'm going because I care about the climate. I really love the way they protect the earth, the natural landscape. I want to learn more about that. I also want to learn more about the Spanish language and how it's spoken in that part of the world. There are some key attractions that I really want to experience. And I also want to engage in medical tourism, dental tourism to be exact. I had a meeting earlier today, actually, with a dental clinic in Costa Rica, San Jose, Costa Rica. And I have also had conversations with the clinic in Panama, but I've decided to go with the Costa Rica clinic. So that will be something that, perhaps I can share with you. That was on my vision board to buy myself an upgrade when it came to dental practices. And I think the other thing is I really want to do another meditation retreat. I did a wonderful meditation retreat, spent lots of time on the beach, and I still really want to be able to engage in that. So based on my research, I ended up where I am now. So I'm basically within 10 days of buying the flights and booking the initial lodging for my 2 country visits, basically. And so how did I do that? I started with YouTube. If you're a YouTuber, we're the queen and queens of trying to use YouTube. So travel bloggers, there are some wonderful, so what I try to do is I put in best countries to visit in blah, 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 blah region. Best cities to visit in blah, blah, blah region. Most affordable. Best cities for solo female travelers. I here make a point of saying that I think that some of the conversations that people will have about is it safe to even Chat GPT in preparing for this video told me in this video to talk about where was it safe for female travelers to be. I want you to know that we come from a place that it's not safe to be a woman. That's a whole other video. But anyway, if you get me, you get me. Put it in the comments. As a woman who spent 25 years living in Chicago, of all places, I love Chicago dearly, and I always felt safe in Chicago. But I feel like as a Black woman over 50, any place we go, there is going to be a chance that we are not treated with the kindness, care, protection that we deserve to be treated. But there are few places on this planet where people are walking into malls, grocery stores, and elementary schools with weapons and shooting up people that are unarmed. That's just not going on anywhere else in the world but here. So that's all I'm gonna say about that. So I don't put as much emphasis on that. I do think that if our political climate, if there are things that are like, for example, I wouldn't have gone to Ukraine when it was being bombed by Russia. So, use your common sense as well, but that's not really a solo female experience. I'm also at the age where I'm not clubbing and going out at night like that. So that is another reason where if that's something you want to be able to do, that you should make sure that you research, where you're staying and proximity to venues and how you're going to get there safely after hours. And there are a lot of places in the Central American region where that's possible. But I know that's not likely something I will do. So one of the things that I'm really interested in doing in terms of my bucket list, I think I have a picture of the bucket list. Okay, so here is my, here, let me take this. Oh, it's the banner. Sorry, I was going to take this banner off. I'm going to put this here. So after you talk about your goals and what you want to experience and where you're going as a result of the desire to have those experiences. So I really love the beach. So I went to 7 different beaches during the two months that I was in Spain. And every single time I walked into a beach, a new one or the same one, I was like wanting to stay, didn't regret it, never got bored with it. It's just like my happy place, I guess. Okay, how do I get back to my media assets? Here we go. All right, so if you look at this, it has some different. I'm still learning how to take things off again, on again. I have a close-up of that. Here we go. So this is the bucket list in the planner, and basically, I know, for example, I'm going to Costa Rica first, and while I'm in Costa Rica, I'm going to be in San Jose. But I'm probably going to stay in some specific neighborhoods that I looked at. So what am I looking for there? After I looked at YouTubers and travel bloggers, there were guidebooks like The Lonely Planet. I prefer Lonely Planet, but there's rough guides and a couple others that you could look at. I think you can also go to TripAdvisor, one of my personal favorites. I don't book there, but I love the reviews and the pictures. It's one of the places where you can have pictures from the people who stayed there. So they'll show you the cobwebs, where the rug wasn't clean, where the buffet, somebody left the buffet nasty. I mean, as a person who loves taking pictures and writing reviews online, I feel like sometimes we're just doing the most. But anyway, it's good to know. It doesn't mean that the place isn't there, but there is very few places where it's going to be 100% immaculate all the time. So I do think that's a great source. You're getting like an authentic view of what it's like, because the pictures that are on their website are always the best lighting on the best day, and you just get a different feel for it. So I'm also saying that I've already decided that I was going to go in San Jose. So I did research on neighborhoods in San Jose, and I created a wish list on Airbnb. And I decided when I finished the wish list that I wanted to stay in, I'm going to mess up the pronunciation of these. There was, I'm doing this a little bit out of order. Downtown, Escazú, San Pedro, and Sabana Park. Please forgive me, anybody who knows how bad I'm butchering these names. And so Sabana Park was the place where I saw the really nice Airbnbs that were affordable. I want luxury. I want luxury on a budget, long story short. I actually wouldn't mind staying in a hotel, but because I'm going to be there 2 weeks, I just know I'm not going to get the kind of deal I need to get. Whereas in an Airbnb, I found several between $600 and $700 for 12 to 14 days, which I think is a steal. I did find some that were $800 or $900, but I didn't think they were nice enough to justify that additional cost. So popular destinations, I looked at the attractions that I wanted to see and the location they were from my Airbnb. I also look at transportation. How am I going to get? Is Uber going to be accessible? There's in the UK and in Spain, they have a company called Bolt. Really, it was hard to find Bolt drivers, but I did download the app and try using Bolt. And there were a couple times that in a pinch, they were really amazingly fast and available, but just weren't in like every single city in town in Spain. They might be in the city where the tourists are, but they're not like in the suburbs if you're going to an Airbnb. So these are things that I didn't know to think about before that I'm now paying closer attention to. What I'd really love is to be near public transportation, but I know that when I go to the theater or out to dinner in the evening, I'm going to want to take an Uber back, at least at night, because I'm going to be tired. I might be carrying things, that type of stuff. So Reddit was another suggestion. I just started using Reddit as a travel planning for feedback from other travelers recently. And oh my God, they have so many great cruise forums. So sidebar, I'm also planning to go on a cruise, but after the Central America sabbatical and the dental stuff is done. And TripAdvisor, I already told you I use, and I already told you I use Lonely Guides. So I read a Lonely Guide about Panama. I haven't read one for Costa Rica. So lodging, you probably know that there are hostels and eco lodges. These are these earth-friendly hybrid boutique type hotels. I haven't tried that yet, and I probably won't because I'm not that. I love nature, but I like nature in an urban way. As a city girl or a person who lived in Chicago, I want nature in air conditioning. Like I'll do what is it called? Open top bus and be outside and see the chairs for an afternoon. But I'm not going, and I'll do outdoor seating, but I'm not going to be on the ground. I'm not going to want to be sweaty. So I'm limited to my access to nature. So I just wanted to mention that. So for lodging, the things that are important to me are obviously my budget, safety, in that I want to be in a place where there are other people around. I do not like being in an isolated location. I like having the whole Airbnb to myself when possible. But I also had several really wonderful experiences, met amazing families when I was in Spain that really helped me with my Spanish language and with translating and navigating difficult situations, where I was trying to do certain attractions and things were canceled or postponed or what have you. So for me, it's going to be hotel versus Airbnb almost every time. I kind of prefer to arrive and spend the first night or two in a hotel because these flights are going to be short, 4 or 5 hours. But when it's a longer flight, like you just really arrive and you want to just go somewhere and take a shower and a nap. And when you get to an Airbnb, there's often stuff that has to be done. Don't ask me. That's a whole nother video. That's a whole nother video. So that proximity to public transportation, to the attractions. I wanted there to be some restaurants and some attractions in my local neighborhood. In Central America, it's a place where there's usually a grocer or a mercado somewhere in the neighborhood. Same thing for a cafe or a place to go out and have a glass of wine in the neighborhood. And there should be 1 or 2 attractions within walking distance. So I'm okay with, I learned by myself, I'm only going to do 1 or 2 attractions per week anyway, which is one of the reasons why I like a 1 month to 2 month stay. It gives me more options. But I definitely am going to prioritize the comfortability of the furniture and the availability for air conditioning, the availability for a view of the water, the mountains, nature, a forest, something. And I'm also going to prioritize access to laundry. I'm a person who loves clean clothes. I do not like having dirty clothes. I know that is sort of weird. It's kind of a first world thing that I probably need to get over. So what are the things that I want to do in terms of activities? So I have another sheet. Let's see if I have this. Yes, I think this is the right sheet. Okay, so this one has, okay, where am I going? When am I going? So this would be like Costa Rica and the exact dates in March that I'm going. I think I'm leaving on the 15th, but I haven't bought the ticket yet, so who knows exactly when I'm leaving. And then I'm going to put down a list of the attractions. So I always want to go to a beach. So San Jose has a lot of water near it, but it's not near a beach. It's central to the country. So I would have to do a day trip. Some of the most amazing beaches that you have access to in Costa Rica would be a day trip that I would have to go, or maybe I would tag on an excursion at the end of my dental work. So like I could stay in a hotel a few days, do a day and a night excursion to one of the famous beaches on the coast, and then go to an Airbnb for like 7 days. So that's one thing that I'm considering now. The next thing is I want to go to a theater. There's a famous theater in San Jose that I'd like to do a tour of and see a performance at and meet some performers if possible. I love theater, live theater. I love taking a cooking class. That was something I wanted to do. I went to a winery and learned about wine, but I did not have the opportunity to go to a coffee house. And Costa Rica and Panama both have amazing coffee growing plantations. So that would be something I'd be interested in taking a class to learn on. I'd love to do a Spanish class or a meetup where expats are practicing their Spanish with local people. That would be amazing. And then I also have a list of museums that I want to visit. And so let me see if I wrote those down here. Yes. So the National Theater, the Mercado Central Market. I love a food court, food market experience. This one is known for its availability of textiles. I'll take that off. I also want to spend time at this really cool Central Park where they have this cathedral called the Metropolitan Cathedral, which is an amazing people watching venue. And apparently there's some outdoor cafes where you could sit and watch people in the park. Go in and out of the park. There's a sculpture garden at the Art Museum in San Jose that I have on my list. And then there's this really cool, prestigious neighborhood called Barrio Amnan, which sounds interesting. Sounds like that's up my alley as well. Same thing. I love vintage stores and just wandering in and out of boutiques looking for, eclectic things I shouldn't be buying. And visiting the Jade Museum is another one that's really famous there. Okay, so I'm going to take a second to take a breath of water and look at the comments. Thank you all so much. So I know that's quite a list. So that's my bucket list. So I went from what are the things I want to experience? What are my criteria? Then my lodging and hotel, options. Lodging meaning Airbnb versus hotel options. And then I went to my bucket list. So the bucket list is sort of like this master list of everything that I could do. And I put down things like closed on Mondays, free on Wednesdays. I put down the price of the ticket. And then I go back and I rank order them. And about 2 weeks before I'm actually going to be there, I pick the 3 or 4 that I'm actually going to do. And then I start booking things when I actually am there. I usually don't book it because what happens for me when I was in Spain and when I was in the UK, I find that sometimes the first 2 days that I'm there, I want to do absolutely nothing. So let me take a look at the comments. Fly Like Me is here. Hey, girl, Dr. Maya. So good to see you. Okay, so the washing machine. Yeah, that's a big one. This is a great resource. Thank you. Yes. Oh, cooking class in Nigeria and Cuba. Oh my God. Yeah. A cooking class in another country. I've never actually been in a cooking class here in the US, but I'm a great cook and people love my food. And so I just think you learn so much about people, culture, and history when you're sharing a great meal, and certainly the ingredients too. And not all the things. Thank you for coming. Thank you guys for your comments. Oh, yes. And then they have so many fruits that like we don't have here and that we aren't exposed to. And so I really am trying to test my palate and push myself. That's part of the experience of taking a career break. I think as a professional, especially as an educator, I want to become a citizen of the world that cares about the world, that cares about people at a deep level, not at the superficial level that's transactional. What can you do for what I'll do for you if you can do for me? And I think building relationships is so important, so important. The closing dates because I missed out on some museums in Toronto because they were closed on Monday. Yeah, I feel like museums, same thing in Chicago. They love to close a museum on a Monday. But then there are some smaller museums that out of the blue, they'll be closed on a Wednesday or a Thursday. So yeah. And if you're only in town, so like I'm going to be in San Jose for 2 weeks. And 4 of those days, I'm going to have dental appointments, which means I won't have the whole day to kind of explore. But it means I'll be out and about. So I want to be able to come up with a short, easy, low-stress activity that I can do after a dental appointment. Obviously, not food. And then if something is going to be only open in the afternoons or in the evening because it's the off season or the rainy season, I think that also has to become part of your planning cycle at the beginning. So this is something that I hope, I mean, you all will get to hear me say whether or not I did a better job or not, but this is something that really bummed me out several times when I went to Spain, because navigating the public transportation system was so stressful. By the time I got downtown or wherever the attraction was and all those people were, I didn't even want to be bothered with people like that. And I am a huge extrovert. For me to have been so frustrated by the time I arrived meant that I was staying too far away and the public transportation was not easy to navigate. But I think, again, I have some strategies for that that will be a little different before. And Fly Like Me says, I agree with you. As soon as you land, you could accept. Yes, yes, you should expect to rest. Take the first day off. Yeah, and I think I plan to do the first day off, but you need to get unpacked. You need to get food, particularly in the case of the Airbnb where I'll be in one of them 7 days and one of them 28, or two of them 28 days. I'm prepared to stay in one of them for 2 months if I really love the neighborhood, but I also think it's good to experience a different neighborhood. So when I get to Panama City, I'm going to try to stay in the city the first month, and then the second month pick another place that's a little bit more far out, and not far out like on purpose, but basically so I could just experience a different side of the pace of life, because there's urban living. You could come to Chicago, and if you stayed downtown for a month, you really haven't seen you've seen 10% of Chicago. That's what I would say as somebody who was there 25 years. So it's just such a different thing. And then Sabbatical Life says, introvert here, being tired of all the people is my norm. Yes, yes. That's how I felt when I said, this is what the introverts be trying to tell me. I was like, oh no, I can't do this. I literally got down. So after doing all the people in the train, and then they're like on top of you, I wasn't used to that either. I went to a restaurant and sat down and had a glass of wine. And then I was like, I don't even want to be here. Yeah, I was very relaxed. So I went walking. The sun came out. The weather was overcast. There were some street performers. And what I ended up doing was spending a lot of time, like I said, wandering the streets, looking at street performers, watching people. I went somewhere and got a cup of coffee. I went somewhere else and so I spent maybe 3 hours. This was in Barcelona, by the way. I spent 3 hours in downtown Barcelona on my way to an attraction where I never went to I went there and took a picture of the outside of it because obviously I'd come to see it, but I was like, I just can't. I just had no energy and no desire. And then after being in London, I had the similar thing happen. I did a lot of museum hopping. I love museums. The museums were amazing. But I learned that my energy is after the third museum. I really don't want to do 3 museums in a week. I just don't care. The same thing for cathedrals and old churches. I really don't care. They all look the same after the third one. So I'm trying really hard to pace myself now that I know. These are things that I didn't know about myself. But now that I know, I will never try to go to a museum. I can do a cooking class, a museum, and what I call strolling around the streets, wandering, just letting whatever happen, having an ice cream, having a coffee, buying a scarf, walking through a local produce market. So I have a couple more things that I wanted to share about lodging. So I also made a list, and you all are travelers, so you probably know that you need to do this. But I think your list could be different when you're on a vacation, because I've done vacations where I was there for 2 or 3 weeks. A sabbatical is a little different in that I think because you're gone a longer period of time, your list could look different. For example, I need to work on my YouTube channel and on my online business 3 days a week. So I need to have strong Wi-Fi in the apartment. And I also want to be able to leave the apartment and work. I want to be able to find a co-working space or cafe that has strong Wi-Fi. So that is something that is a little higher priority. I also want to know that I can walk to a grocery store. So you know how when you're at home and you make that recipe and you can Instacart the one ingredient that you left, or you decide to change recipes, or if you're in Atlanta, people hop in their car and they drive around the corner to Walmart or whatever. So I found that that's not something you should count on being able to do. So, but I do want to be able to walk to a local produce market. And so that's really important. I definitely want to be able to fit within my monthly budget of $1,200 for lodging. I also want access to a co-working space. I want to be able to meet and mix with other, socialize with other digital nomads, expats, all the things, local business owners. Um, I also want laundry. I learned in Spain, everybody hangs their laundry out because they have 300 days of sunshine. I don't really like the feel of dried outside clothes, but I realize that's something I need to work on because I want to be a citizen of the world, and so I know I need to work on that. I mean, I got used to it. I did it, but I mean, it would be lovely if I could be in a place that had a washer and a dryer. So I just want to say that I did create sort of a pre-trip checklist that I'm not going to go through. I might save this for another episode, but in like broad strokes, if you're going to be traveling this time next year and you've never planned a sabbatical, now is the time to start your research, because most of us who are the type of people who have stressful jobs, we're doing the most when it comes to planning and research, right? And so I want you to think about how you can give yourself a little grace by starting early. You also need to start saving early. So what I did was I started taking on odd jobs that normally I resented at the institution where I worked. And so when they would ask me to teach an extra class, I was like, boom, there's $3,000 for my travel fund. When they would ask me to do such and such a thing, I was like, boom, there's $200 for my travel fund. So I started to be less resentful about all the overworking I was doing. And I started to be very intentional about asking for financial stipends, because I learned too late in my career. That's a whole nother video about pay inequity in higher education and in many industries. So basically, when you need to go from researching, strategizing to putting plans in paper and using your planner, is when you are 2 to 3 months out, because that's when you want to start laying out your itinerary. You'll be able to figure out exactly, like I've been looking at the cost of round trip flights from Atlanta, from LA, from New York, and from Miami to different cities in Central America for months. But now I know that I'm not going to go to New York to get on a plane, because basically the best flights are not direct flights, but they require you to change in New York and New Jersey to Central America. I have no idea what's going on up in the Northeast that they have such cheap flights to Central America, but that's where they are. And then there's a wonderful airline, Copa Airline, that comes out of Miami, doesn't come to Atlanta, that I also am thinking, I still am pretty open to that, because I have lots of friends in Florida, of doing round trip from Miami to both or either San Jose or Panama City. So, and then after your lodging, your airfare, you want to price out your itinerary. There's like things you might want to do. Like I really wanted to do a boat tour. I think I was in London on the Thames, however you say that, Thames River. And somebody told me that they found it, I don't know, a coupon somewhere, and they found it for $30. But I crossed that off my list because I found it was going to be $100. The weather sucked the whole time. I was in London. Every time I was in London, the weather was like, I was like, darn if I'm going to give them $100 to be out here in this cold, gray weather. I just refuse. And then, long story short, I still haven't done it. So I got to go back to London to have that and to do that in the summertime. And then the next thing you need to do is start looking at your food budget. So week by week and your experiences, how are you going to map that out so that your cash flow is what you want to do? I also think it's important to have a strategy if you're going to be gone for 3 months. How are you going to be drawing down the money that you're spending? What I would not do is put it all in my account at one time, whatever it is that you're saving. And I'm not a financial planner or financial. In fact, I'm not even good at that stuff. I don't want to tell you guys how I was like mad that I couldn't eat where I wanted to eat the last month that I was in Spain. Okay. Because I had been having lots of fun earlier in the trip. But anyway, so don't do what I did. But I would say, when you leave that you should have enough money to do what you're supposed to do there. But as you're in the moment, if you're like me, you can often find yourself tempted to do impulse experiences or upcharge or, accept an upsell. I guess I'll put it that way. Your travel documents. You need a passport that has at least 6 months validity. You need to purchase travel insurance. That's really important. Again, not my expertise, but that's on the checklist. Within 30 days of going. So I should be also shopping for travel insurance now for my trip, and I haven't started yet. So that's on my list. My visa requirements, I know I don't need to do anything extra with that. I know my passport is good. And then necessities for the packing list. So another big thing that I did that I will close with this is I basically took too much stuff. I took a suitcase the size of a small child. I'm talking not like a toddler, but like a first grader with me. A 55, 53. You know how most of those weight restrictions are 50, 53, 52 pounds. So I had to unpack and take stuff out of that suitcase almost every time it was weighed. All right. So I'm not proud of that, but that's what happened. I did have another sheet that I want to show you. Not that one. I think it's this one. Okay, so this is the sheet where once you start making your list, you go from your bucket list, which is everything I want to do, to the specific experiences that you are booking. And even if I call to book them and I don't book, let's say, I don't know, you hear that there's a coupon code or something, so you don't book it. I go ahead and put the website, their Instagram, and the price on here. And then when it's confirmed, I use a highlighter to basically, I put green, which means go. Later on, it has delayed and post. But there's also a sheet like this when you do experiences that you end up not doing, but maybe you're going to come back to them. There's a place to track that information as well. So maybe you cross something off the list, but you think, I don't know. What's one other thing? Let's see. I just want to make sure that all the things that I pulled out to show you that I've actually shown you. And let me go to my banners. Oh, I did have one more thing. So this is where you could get access to the guide if you're interested. Okay, I got to go back to media. I'm on StreamYard, and I finally upgraded so I can have a little different branding. I just want to. Okay. So basically this planner, my stand store, this is the only thing in the stand store, but I actually have other things that I've created in the past that will be uploaded to the stand store over the course of the next week or two. And I will do a video kind of touring what resources are available. I have some that are going to be free, but I still feel like I need to update them before I put them there. So that will be a place where my career stuff, my travel things, and also my wellness and meditation buckets. Those are the 3 types of products that I will be featuring in the stand store. So I'm really excited about having a stand store. And so digital downloads, the ones that I create, work in 2 ways. If you get the product, I will be given your email address. And every time I update the product, until, I start having tens of thousands of people and don't have a team, I can't. But for now, I know that my audience is small enough and my customer base is small enough that every year, most likely when I update this, you will get a link to the Canva file in your email that says, this is the 2025, this is the 2026, and so forth. And so as long as I'm doing it. So I'm excited about that. I think it's going to be easy to update products and keep people in the loop. And so the price reflects that. So you could print it out and use it as paper because people are, like me, you love paper and pen or pencil and a highlighter and a Post-it note. Or you can just download it and open it up. And then if you have the PDF, Adobe PDF has it where you can write on it and type on it and it's editable. So whichever would work for you. So thank you guys so much for hanging in here with me. I'm going to go back to my comments to just see what else has been said here. Let's see. I'm trying to see where I left off here. Don't get started on. Oh, somebody laughed because I said yes. It was 55 pounds. That's a first grader. That's not a toddler. That's a first grader. Girl, don't get me. I think there's a way I can put these on here. Okay, I'm sorry. Don't get me started on the packing dilemma. I left a whole suitcase in Paris because I couldn't. Yeah, I did too. I brought the suitcase, but I had to bring it back empty. Okay, so organized. This is a great wish I had when I did my sabbatical. Thank you so much. I hope it'll be useful for myself and others. And then I just learned. This is my 3rd time on StreamYard. This is how, because I can't read them over there. Oh yes, I was there. What is your name again? Oh, at Sabbatical Life. Not all the things was there too. Oh, okay. Yes. So I am actually Sabbatical Life with Dr. Crystal, but my handle is actually just Dr. Crystal Harris. I mean, you found me, so you know that. But just so you know, and then the podcast is My Academic Life with Dr. Crystal, which won't have its own. When I actually finish the launch of it, I hope soon. I hope soon. I will have. It won't have a YouTube channel. It'll just be on the playlist under this channel. Video for the challenge I haven't gone back on, still juggling. Oh wow, yeah, that's why I don't want a second channel. Hate to hear that you had to leave. Yeah, oh yeah, that is tough. No worries, once you have content, would love to follow. Oh, wonderful. Okay, nothing like a post-it note. Oh yeah, I love a post-it note. I just love, and stickers. I love stickers. I think that's the educator in me. I'm also the child of two educators. A channel under the name, most followers, and under, you know what? I'm having trouble reading that because it's too small. But they can see it because it's on the thing. Love this video. Love all the resources. Go girl. Thank you guys so much. I really appreciate you. Not all the things. Thank you for also showing up. I don't remember your name. Maybe I'm not supposed to be blasting people's government names out here on this YouTube. But the channel is small but growing, so I will get better at the things you're not supposed to do as we grow. Thank you guys so much, and I appreciate it if you like this video. Share it with anybody you know. You know that friend that has a job he or she hates, that toxic job, that toxic colleague, that toxic boss that you know that I have been sending them videos. This is my first time doing one. I have been sending them videos about people going on sabbaticals and career breaks for 2 years. Send them this video, okay? Just poke them a little bit. Sometimes people need a poke. Sometimes people need a poke. That's just the truth. At the end of the day, it took me 2 years to get where I am now with you all. And I'm so excited about going on phase 2 of my sabbatical. I'm so excited to be in Central America. I've been watching videos about Central America since November, since I got back from Spain. And the truth of the matter is, we are becoming who we were meant to be. Like that young girl inside, full of fun and energy and excitement and adventure. Like this world, especially this Western individualist, colonialized world, it beats that out of us. I mean, but I love the excitement and the joy that we become, particularly as women of color living in the United States, when we get to experience our wildest dreams. And so I want that for all of you. Thank you so, so, so much. And I will see you in the next video. Bye-bye.